So this week for the RNA, we're looking at financial aid, student debt, food and housing insecurities, and also reading my book. So out of everything, all of the readings that we've done for this semester, I am as prepped and ready as this is humanly possible because I've just been listening to my book, Lower Ed, plus the Paying the Price that I was listening to for the first book in this class. It's kind of like this whole section was set up for Chris's reading of the day. So I'm going to end, we'll go through the different readings that we had, but first I want to talk about Lower Ed, the book. I have been using Scribd on my phone. I am down to less than 1 hour left on this book. I have been listening to it back and forth from work, back and forth some more. It has been my sit in the car and listen book, and I will tell you, it's not surprising to me as I listen to it, but it's interesting, and I want to talk more about it during the book fest or the book fest that we're going to do. But honestly, what I'm learning is I got really freaking lucky going to school. I didn't have any financial barriers in place. I am not the normal. That's just not the case. I mean, you look at me, I'm a white male out of a higher income group. Plus, I had scholarships and academic skills. You put all of that together. When I look at what my autoethnography is looking at, plus what I'm hearing in these books, I will say I was blessed throughout the entire process. That's what I've determined. But listening to Lower Ed, I see how kind of there's a need for credentialing of some sort, and there's kind of these predatory practices that are taking place that aren't really helping because it's not fixing the actual problem that's occurring in the economy. It's just putting a new level and step that people have to take, which is actually building systemic problems that are actually limiting students from even being able to go to college, and then they get the debt, and then they go through a snowball effect of keeping that debt, and then it passes on to their future children and grandchildren and all of that. So, needless to say, I'm learning that accessibility to college should be extremely important, and the monetization of the for-profit college sector, plus the cost increases in the public and community college sectors, are creating some problems. And there needs to be some financial reform in some sort of place. It may be student loans, it may be grant programs, it may be free college for everyone. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I know from what I'm looking at, something has to be done. And I need to learn more. It's just, wish I would have had this when I started because now I could have learned more about it over the time, but I digress. So I want to look at my actual readings for the week. I've got the history of federal student aid, which is really interesting because this would have been great to have before I listened to the book, Paying the Price, because we learned a lot about student aid and student loans and all the different things. Plus, I teach a finance class. So when you do those, you kind of have a good idea of what is going on. But the thing that I really find interesting is it hasn't really been touched. There really need to have some reform of something here. And some of the stats that really brought up, 1 in 6 American adults have some sort of kind of student loan debt. Luckily, Lindsay and I don't. The amount that they're putting into federal aid with loans and grants is insane, $150 million, but I know it's not even there. Thinking back that federal aid's been around for 60 years is something that's like, wow. And I also find this interesting because those people that are making the laws now weren't actually a full part of experiencing the price increase over time, and they're kind of still back in the olden days for a lot of this. So I find this a little bit strange. I don't really know what else to say about this. It's kind of like, yeah, we did a whole bunch of stuff. Cool, we're trying. And the last thing that has even happened, according to the timelines, in 2014. That's 2021. I know COVID, I get it, but that's 7 years ago. College has changed in 7 years. I feel like I'm yelling on like a TV show or a radio show now. I'm like, ah! But it's just, it's a little crazy to me. Then you go to student loan debt statistics. This is insane. $1.6 trillion of loans, and on average $30,000 of loans that you have. I mean, I can't believe this. I mean, I'm sitting here in a situation where if you put what I owe in my house and the new car that we had, I'm still just a little bit over half of what some of these people are paying for college. I don't have any other loans. It's insane the financial situation I put myself in because of my just who I was. Not anything that was done by me per se, just my race and status put me in a spot where I went to college and been able to continue to go without real concern. But there's a lot of people that can't do that. And going to college is supposed to be an investment in yourself. And I tell students all the time, yes, invest in learning, invest in getting those degrees. But at what cost? Should everybody be going? I don't know. I really don't. It kind of messes with you just a little bit to think through some of the stuff that I don't know per se. And the last one that we wrote was the Hope Center Real College 2020. This one, it was revised in 2020, but I've read this recently. I think I read it in a Dr. Latz class. I want to say community colleges from 2 years back. I think it's been re-updated. I remember this was like, okay, food pantries. Awesome. We're going to look at housing insecurities, basic needs insecurities. Here's what students are really needing, where they're going to be staying at overnight. This piece right here, the reason I say I remember it, is what changed the way I think about how my students act and are doing in the classroom. I used to be like, why in the heck can't this student do something? I mean, come on. I mean, they've been given a week to do your assignment. You waited till the last minute to do it. Why couldn't you get this done? And now I'm like, well, maybe they just don't have a place to sleep at night. Maybe there's other things on their mind. I have been through something similar when my wife was at the hospital after Danny, and once Danny's happened, plus COVID occurred. I felt that stress of things I couldn't control impacting my education. But I don't feel it in the need of like the hierarchy of needs of Maslow's. It's like I never had to worry about my home. I can think about a time where my house caught fire and the stress and everything that happened with that. I can't imagine not having a place to stay, especially with a little one. Childcare. I have had more trouble in the last year getting stuff done than I ever have getting stuff done. Why? Danny's cute. He's cute and he wants to play, and I like to play with him. And when he does that, I'd rather spend time with him than my schoolwork. Not that I need to get the stuff done, but it changes your priorities. And someone going to school, and this ties back to lower ed, someone going to school who needs childcare, that's trying to get a job so they maybe get out of poverty in some fashion or able to spend more time with their kids, are put in impossible situations. It just doesn't work. And I could sit here and critique the system, but I don't know if there's an answer right away. I think if there was, it'd be like, yeah, let's do this. But honestly, I think it's just a bunch of unknowns and questions that no one has a real answer to. There's something wrong. I don't know how to fix it. It's one of the things I hate the most. It's when I can't fix something. Honestly, if I could pay for everybody to go to school that's going through some of the stories that I've read in the readings this week, or lower ed, or the pay the price, I mean, I would fund somebody. Like, I sit here and after hearing this stuff, I would pay more taxes just so people would go to school for free. I don't care. They should get the same privilege that I got to be able to do it without worrying. I know I'm in a minority group or not a in power group of saying that, but come on, people. Come on. That's my RNA for this week. I know it was more of a radio talk show. I feel like I'm one of the crazy lunatics on Fox News. Don't tell anybody I said that. But that's, yeah. That's what I got. Have a good day.